Hey Larry, one man garage, been a while. Got the old truck back together the other day with the rebuilt rear end. Changed up the type of differential and some new axles. But also started building the dry shaft for the Firebird. The previous shaft was a Chevy U-joint Denny's shaft that's old. I think it came out of a race car, 69 Firebird. Some of the drivetrain was swapped into this one a while back when my buddy got it going. But I had this Pontiac 400 yoke I needed, so I had to get the cross U-joints that are 1310 Chevy on one side and 3R Pontiac style on the other. So that is a Spicer 53022-1X. So I got a couple of those, and I already got this together. Actually used a C-clamp to help pull it together. I didn't use that stuff back in the old days, when I was young and dumb. I was just beating the shit out of stuff with a hammer, and the needle bearings go flying everywhere. So I used heat to disassemble all this a while back, and used a C-clamp to try to slowly pull stuff together. And I just used a little bit of hammer at the end after it was already started far enough so that the needle bearings stayed where they needed to be. So I got the inside clips on the Pontiac side, and then the outside is narrower, is going to have the outer clips Chevy style. So I want to try to get this into the shaft, and then we'll see if we can get the other joint on. So this isn't high tech, but some noobs, maybe some of this will help you. My first problem is this hole has had the crap beat out of it with a hammer and it's folded in. So I'm not sure if I want to grind clearance it on the lip so I can get the U-joint in. If I just beat on it, it's going to deform more. The clip will grab enough area if I just grind that back. So from my point of view, you can see it's just that outer lip that's folded in. So I think I'll just burr bit that. Got the Hobo Freight grinder and a good used burr bit. It will eat that up like nothing. Safety glasses, please. Safety first, people. Please wear your glasses under the car, or grinding, and face shields, or especially rusty cars, getting under them. I mean, sometimes, like I get these free at my job, but it's just no excuse. Get eye injury. So be smart. Well, I got that opened up, but you can see it's kind of collapsed in. So I'm not sure. I gotta see if there's room on the clip for the part of the clip that doesn't really go in. Maybe I'll line it up right there. Talking about this, that's the outer clip. So kind of looks like I could span that area. If that's where I decide to put it in, it will just not be grabbing where it's jacked up. Good enough for me. So if your C-clamp's missing the little swivel thing on the end, you can use different size sockets to get, and just stick it in there backwards, and pick a socket that's small enough to not be wider than what you're pushing. So that's what I'm doing. So we're gonna try to crank this down. Tap of the old hammer, and we're flush on both sides rather easily. So now I may try the C-clamp one more time to get it recessed enough to get the clips in. Well, that seemed to work rather easily, so I'm going to try to put in this side first. I'm going to say this is going too easy. I'm kind of spooked. I'm going to try to push in this other side now. Well, we may have a little problem. I'm really hoping that a needle didn't fall and end up in the cup and jam me by the thickness of a bearing, needle bearing, because it's just stopped before it was all the way in. Didn't make any sense other than that, so I really don't want to have to take this back apart. So got it back apart, and of course needles fell probably just during disassembly, so got them tucked back in. Used pinky finger in there to help kind of get them pushed back. Probably put a little bit of extra grease in there just to help hold it, or maybe not, but we're ready to try again. Before I C-clamp it again, I'm going to put the clip back on this side. Pretty sure that went in pretty good. If you look, if you can see it, the grease seal is up against the center cross. So we'll see if the clip goes in. We're in business, boys and girls. The rear end didn't feel distorted or crappeth beateth out of like the other side, so we're gonna try to just put this together normal. I pushed the clips on for the part that goes with the Pontiac yoke, which is clips on the inside, 3R type, and then we'll be ready to squeeze the Chevy parts on the shaft. I actually held this side, I held the cross up tight so it would hold the needle bearings, and actually just tapped it in a hammer without hitting them too hard. So now I should be able to squeeze the other part together with a clamp. Just like the other side, I had to get the cap off and reset the bearings and added extra grease to help hold them. It's possible the grease might not have been on the back side of the bearings. They might have just pookied it in there, you know, after the needles were in there. I don't know. Gravity help, I rotated to the bottom so the needles might stay more input. Back to clip time. Cross my fingers, hope to work. Well, she's in there. This is gonna have to work. The drive shaft's gotta fit. I went over this in previous videos, but the car was set up with a small output shaft, M20, M21 Muncie 4-speed, and a 12-bolt Chevelle rear end. And then we went back to a turbo 400 and the original 8.2 10-bolt. So the shortening of the shaft for the 12-bolt rear end is actually the same amount you shorten to go from a 400 transmission to a 350 transmission. So the ends should offset in equal amounts of like 3/4 inch. So this should fit. We'll see tomorrow.